Okay, so here we are to do our little practice. Won't take long, 20, 30 minutes maybe. The 4 opponent powers. And we're going to go through these 4 steps in a very casual, relaxed way, trying to think of it as very personal. It's between kind of you and you, you know. The Buddha's involved, but it's really our own process. It's our own internal process. Owning dumb things we've done, regretting them because we're sick of suffering, having compassion for those we've harmed, doing a little visualization of purification, and then making some determinations to change. And as Lama Zopa says, we're insane not to do this practice every day. And it makes sense when we understand karma. So for this reason, we're sitting here. So we're going to just, again, remind ourselves of, we'll take refuge in the middle of the practice. We'll do the practice. So it's this 4 steps, okay? And try and think of it as something ordinary. Don't think you're doing a holy religious thing. It kind of removes us from it. I'm leading the words, but you're doing the processing. You're making these thoughts and these words your thoughts. So to the extent that it makes sense to you, then you own these words. If you don't like it, you just don't think it. You know, you're not being forced. So basically, the principle of the 4 opponent powers is on the basis of karma. That everything we think and do and say sows seeds in our mind, and more precisely, we either do things that are labeled negative, which are those that are motivated by delusions, which then harm others, not to mention harming ourselves. And then there are things we do that are virtuous. So here we're taking care of the rubbish ones. We're taking care of the weeds we've planted. We want to, get rid of them. So the first step is regret. So just think very simply. We think what we're trying to regret here first is the actions we've done with our body and speech that harm others. That's the heaviest level. So think of today and then think of this life in general. So I'll go through this list of 10 things, okay? Very briefly as our checklist. We'll go through these 10 things and we'll check if we've done those things that we can remember. And then, of course, we're going to think that we must have done them and we don't remember them. And, of course, since beginningless time, we've done countless of these actions. This is the idea. So the first step is regret. So we think, okay, first one is killing. So probably most of us, either very consciously have killed, say, fish or gone hunting or whatever we do. We've killed mosquitoes, we've killed the mice, we've killed the rats, we've killed the sandflies, we've killed the cockroaches. I mean, this is just normal in our culture. We don't think about it. We maybe killed an abortion. We've been involved with aborting a sentient being from our womb, for example, or someone else's womb. Maybe we've been in the army. We've killed humans. So we think of this. We think of the killing. First of all, killing, and we think, we feel if we want to, we think, well, killing sows seeds in my mind. That even if we're not thinking of future lives, like we said today, that's going to grow a tendency in my mind. How can that be virtuous? How can I want my mind to be programmed with anger and with attachment and then to harm sentient beings? Why would I want that, And of course, if you think of future lives, even more so, why on earth would I want that kind of result for myself? Of course I wouldn't. So this whole point of karma is, this regret is for my sake. This is for our own sake. It's not some holy reason for others yet. So we acknowledge we did those dumb actions, killed those sentient beings. So maybe I didn't think, out of ignorance, I didn't think that I was leaving imprints in my mind. I didn't think like that. So I regret from the depths of my heart these dumb actions I've done that have sowed seeds in my mind that will program me with those tendencies and even in the future with those experiences. I don't want suffering, so I regret. Of course I regret those actions. So think of some of them. Just think of something, just some that you remember. Of killing, for example. Certain times maybe, certain sentient beings. So I regret because I don't want the future results. I don't want the future results. I don't want the suffering. That's clear. I don't want suffering. No way. So stealing, taking the ungiven, maybe casually. We do this on the computer so easy these days. Things that people have lent us we haven't given back. Taking flowers, taking possessions, not paying our taxes, not paying our credit cards, cheating with our money. We all love to do this one. So think. Why would I want that tendency in my mind? No way. Of course I regret. Because I don't want the suffering. I don't want that tendency. I don't want to shrink my own sense of self. I don't want to be mean and nasty and miserly. Of course I don't. I regret anything I've done, taking from sentient beings things that haven't been given to me. Even if it's the mega rich banks, who cares? That's not the point. I don't want to steal. I don't want the results. So I regret those actions because I don't want the future suffering. Sexual misconduct, that could be raping, that could be misusing our bodies to harm others, that could be cheating on partners, cheating on our own partner or taking someone else's, causing the pain and suffering of that. Misusing our body based on sexual attachment. Maybe some of us have done that. This is harming others. This is not pornography. You're just harming yourself if you watch the television, sex all day. That's harming you. It's not about harming others. This is about harming others. Of course, which harms us. We're talking about harming others here, this first step. Lying. We mightn't think we lie, but so often we say things that aren't quite true, and it's always for our own advantage. It's never for anybody else's sake. It could be possibly. So we regret that, this loose speech we have. So thinking the lying, things we've said to mislead people, maybe that's a habit we have. Exaggerating our good qualities, always saying things that aren't true. Regret. Why? I don't want the future suffering. I don't want these habits. I do not want to be lied to. That's clear. That's one of the key results of actions, is we have that happen to ourselves. I don't want to be killed. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want to be stolen from. That's clear. So of course I regret these actions that I have done that will bring those results for my own sake. I'm sick of suffering. Harsh, some people, abusive speech. It's one I know very well. I'm always abusing people, or less now. Using harsh language, abusing people, hurting people with speech. Maybe that's some of us have that habit. From the depths of our heart we regret. We don't want that to happen to ourselves. No way. Don't want that habit. Criticizing people behind backs, that's one of our favourite ones. We love to do it, feel so safe. All the politicians, all the other people. We love to do it, even if they don't hear us. Doesn't matter. The harm we're doing to ourselves is incredible. Polluting our own minds. I regret having done that. I don't want the suffering. And we can guarantee if we talk about people behind their backs, they talk about us. No way we want that. And then rabbiting on about nothing. One of our favourites. We don't care if the person wants to hear it. We just have to go blah, blah, Wasting our speech. Depths of my heart, I regret all of this nonsense. These actions, 7 little actions, that harm others, which in turn harm me. And this is for my sake. I regret these actions. I don't want these habits. I don't want these experiences. Not to mention lower realm rebirth, if we can even think of that. So then we think, if it makes sense to us, given that I've got countless lifetimes, I regret anything I've ever done since beginningless time with my body and my speech to harm sentient beings through countless lifetimes. Out of my ignorance. If an animal, if you can imagine, like one whale, for one mouthful of one breakfast of her long life, 40 million little sentient beings go into her mouth. That's a lot of killing. Out of complete and total ignorance. Due to past karma, abuse, past tendencies. If we can think this, the countless actions we've done in the past to harm sentient beings out of our complete ignorance, that's the tragedy. I regret from the depths of my heart because I do not want more suffering. I am sick of suffering. It's compassion for ourselves. So now, let's think of some of the actions we do that harm us, just us. These are all our ridiculous habits. Maybe alcohol, heroin, cigarettes, too much food, all the things that destroy our mind and body, that completely dominate us, the addiction aspect of it. Totally only harming us. Look at the results, We are totally sick of this. We do not want this. Look at the suffering it's causing me. My own ridiculous habits with no discipline and unable to control my body and speech. The abuse we do to ourselves, so common, starving ourselves, vomiting, anorexic, all these things we do to ourselves to destroy ourselves. We should have such compassion for ourselves. The things we do to harm ourselves exclusively. putting ourselves down, self-hate, all these things. I regret all of this from the depths of my heart. Poisoning my own mind, dragging myself down. I am sick of this suffering. I am sick of this suffering. I regret it from the depths of my heart. So if we are a Buddhist and we've taken vows, for example, it's guaranteed we've weakened our vows, loosened our vows, broken them, not taken them, not clearly, not kept them purely. So here, just in general, we regret from the depths of our heart, breaking our word of honor, breaking our samaya, breaking our vows. No way we want the future suffering. No way we want to cut ourselves off from the Dharma, from our teachers, from the Buddha. No, do not want that. No way. So I regret from the depths of my heart. So we think, whom can we turn to? Who can we rely upon who's got methods that we can choose to use to help ourselves? Because we're the doctor. We fix ourselves up. There's no one else. We have to do it. And this is the first step, opening the door to it. So whom can we turn to? So here in this context, here we're referring to the Buddha. So if you're not sure if you want to rely on the Buddha, that's your decision. So don't think that way. So just think whatever you like here. But if you'd like to think of relying upon the Buddha, whose methods you like, whose method you'd like to use in your life to help you work your mind out, sort yourself out, purify yourself, develop your amazing potential, then let's think that thought. So here in this framework, we visualize above our heads, a bit like Tara, the same style as a bodhisattva, looking gorgeous. The Buddha, but in this different aspect. In the form, the name is Vajrasattva, but it's the same Buddha. A different dressing up. White light body, very radiant, very beautiful, sitting on a multicolored lotus, on above our crown this time. And he's holding a bell in his left hand and a dorji in his right, and they're crossed at his heart. And this symbolizes the union of the two wings, wisdom and method, wisdom and compassion. It's the manifestation of enlightened energy. And particularly, his white light, blissful, sweet face, peaceful aspect. And we think he represents non-duality, emptiness. The wisdom of realizing the reality of how things are. And we have a spiritual teacher, we imagine it's their mind manifesting as this radiant, blissful Buddha above our heads. It was all made of light, very radiant, blissful. So we delight that we've found a person who's got methods we can use to help ourselves. How fantastic. Delight in it. Taking refuge means that. How fantastic. So the second part of this step here, this reliance, we're going to rely upon sentient beings in the sense that we want to become a bodhisattva. We want to benefit sentient beings. We want to have compassion for those beings who are suffering. So in that sense, we need suffering sentient beings. We need to know about them, to see them, because then they're grist for our mill for us to cultivate compassion. Based upon understanding our own suffering in the first step and regretting the harm we've done to ourselves, we now regret for harming others. So we have such compassion for all those ants, all the flies, all the mosquitoes, the fetus, the fish, the humans, those we've harmed, killed, lied to, stolen from over countless lifetimes. Countless sentient beings. And this is the point here, as a bodhisattva, we've got a karmic connection with every single one of them. So we want to use that. For every one of those beings we've harmed, we can now have such compassion for them. And we want to become a Buddha so we can now benefit them. For their sake, we must purify, so we can only help them. Never harm them. Every single one of them. And now if we've been brave enough, we think of those who've harmed us. Even if it's been really terrible harm, we've been raped, if we've been harmed brutally, if we have courage, or been rejected by people, hurt by people, if we can realize that they are harming themselves, by doing those actions, they will suffer terrible consequences for themselves. Because every action we all do brings its own consequences to us. So for this reason, we have such compassion for them. They're harming me, creating so much suffering for themselves. I must also purify for their sake. So now the third step, we take the remedy, we apply the antidote. And here, in this context, we're going to do a certain visualization and the recitation of a certain mantra. So just the thinking about the Buddha representing emptiness and imagining this nectar coming, like we did with Tara, but different, like we did with the speech one, but different, a variation of that. To help, to use this as our method for connecting with the Buddha so that we utilize the Buddha ourselves so we can purify ourselves. We are doing the work. So we now visualize from Vajrasattva very happily sends this radiant nectar like a hose of energy, liquid energy like nectar that arcs around from his heart, that arcs around very powerfully and enters our crown, filling us with this very powerful nectar that forces out, this first part of the meditation, forces out through our lower parts of our body, all the lower orifices, all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done since beginningless time to sentient beings with our bodies. All the harm we've done. And let's think of all the harm we've done to ourselves with our bodies, abusing ourselves, Let's think of all of that as well. Purifying all of these imprints, not one atom left, driving out this blissful nectar, forcefully driving out through all the lower parts of our body like filthy liquid, disappearing into space, not one atom left. Happily thinking this, wanting this, as we recite the mantra. And you listen. If you don't know it, just listen. If you know it, then recite with me. It's in the book, actually. If you want to recite it with me, you're very welcome to open the page, or just for now, learn it by listening. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Meba Wa Suto Kayo Meba Wa Supo Kayo Meba Wa Anorato Meba Wa Sarva Siddhi Memprayatsa Sawa Karma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Maha Samaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Meba Wa Suto Kayo Meba Wa Supo Kayo Meba Wa Anorato Meba Wa Sarva Siddhi Memprayatsa Sawa Karma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Maha Samaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Meba Wa Suto Kayo Meba Wa Supo Kayo Meba Wa Anorato Meba Wa Sarva Siddhi Memprayatsa Sawa Karma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe. Imagine full of this blissful nectar, not one atom left of all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done since beginningless time with our bodies. Gone. Disappeared into space. And it can disappear because it is a dependent arising. That's the logic. There is no karma that can't be changed. There's no imprint that can't be purified. There's no tendency we can't fix. There's nothing that can't change. It's the nature of impermanence. It's the nature of dependent arising. And our mind does it. How amazing. So now again, Lama Vajrasattva so compassionately sends from his heart again this kind of hose of nectar that arcs around, enters our crown, fills us completely. And this time, what it does is forcefully fill us up and force to the surface of our body all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done since beginningless time with our speech, all the nonsense of our speech that causes harm to others and indeed, of course, causes all the harm to us, all the rubbish of our speech as humans, of course. Since beginningless time, driven up to the surface, just like as Lama Yeshe said, when you turn on a tap in the sink, all the junk in the glass comes to the surface. Same here. And all this is forced out through the top part of our body and disappears into space like filthy liquid. Not one atom left, driven out by this radiant nectar filling us. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasidi Memprayata Sawakama Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasidi Memprayata Sawakarma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasidi Memprayata Sawakama Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe. Completely driven out, blissfully full of this blissful nectar, all the negativity of our speech gone, purified. How amazing. So now we visualize Guru Vajrasattva this time sends beams of light. And I don't know if beams of light can arc around, but we're just going to imagine it. So from his heart, these beams of light that arc around and enter our crown and instantly fill us. Instantly. Just as Lama Yeshe says, as soon as you turn on a light in the room, instantly the darkness is dispelled, isn't it? Like that. So instantaneously the light hits us. All the delusions, the ego grasping, the source of all the problems, all the ridiculous attachment that causes us to do these ridiculous things, and all the aversion and all the other dramas that are the source of why we do these dumb things, which is the source of our suffering. Completely eradicated by this radiant white light filling us. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasidi Memprayata Sawakama Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasidi Memprayata Sawakama Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasidi Memprayata Sawakama Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe. So now we visualize this time Vajrasattva, Lama Vajrasattva sends all these three together. Sounds a bit chaotic, but it's a bit like a second rinse. We've got to clean out even the subtlest imprints. They talk about the delusions have all gone, but now we're going to purify even the imprints of all these, which is what then causes us to actually become a Buddha. So first, as we say the mantras, you first visualize all the light nectar going down, purifying even all the extra imprints of all the delusions of the body, of the negativity of body, then the nectar going up, purifying all the imprints of the negative speech, and then all the imprints of the negative mind, the light coming. So just do what you can with all of that, as we recite 3 times. But imagine we're purifying even the imprints, even the leftover smell, if you like, of all the negativity, gone completely. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Memprayata Sawakama Sutam Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Memprayatsa Sawakama Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Chenopatita Dido Mebawa Sutokayo Mebawa Supokayo Mebawa Anorato Mebawa Sarvasiri Memprayatsa Sawakama Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe. Totally purified. All the delusions, all the cause of suffering, all the suffering, and all the imprints of all of this. How amazing. Because none of it is permanent. All of it is dependent arising. So, and all of this is, as they say in Buddhist psychology, is adventitious. This is not at the core of our being. It's like extra. Gone. Purified. How amazing. So now the fourth step. As Pabonkara Rinpoche says, the most important. The determination to change. So we have taken vows. The vows we can reiterate really strongly. And every time we say it, it's like doing push-ups. You keep getting better at it. You keep strengthening your muscles. Here we're strengthening our inner muscles. We're digging these grooves into our mind ever deeper, strengthening our vows. I will never kill. I will never lie. I will never steal. I will never, these things. And then those and many other vows we've got in our commitments, think carefully about them. And making the determination to keep them as purely as possible. And then if we haven't got these vows, then our own life in general, make our own decisions, our old ridiculous habits, for example. So first of all, if you can decide, maybe you haven't before, but if you can decide, maybe, okay, I will attempt to not kill, not steal, not lie. And if you're thinking, especially if you'd like to take the vows eventually, start with this attitude now. Make a decision, And then if some old habits that you can't say you'll never do again, like all our rubbish habits that harm us. Maybe you say, I won't badmouth my boyfriend for 10 hours. I won't, talk about other people for 1 hour. Certain things. You sincerely talk to yourself, because you are talking to yourself here. In this practice, you're being your own friend. Think this way. You're being your own boss, your own friend. Making decisions to yourself for your benefit. And of course, for the sake of others. So just make your own decisions about certain things you want to give yourself a timeline on. Make some commitments to yourself. Determination to change. Now imagine the Buddha, Bodhisattva, very happily dissolving into white light, dissolving through our crown. And then, as I said before, like we did before with Tara, the energy of the body, speech and mind of the Buddha, energy of the body, speech and mind of our teacher, our Lama, energy of our own body, speech and mind, merging, becoming oneness. Same thing, full of this blissful energy. And then just for a moment, again, just like imagining vast as space. No thoughts, no thoughts. Just blissful, clear, vast. Imagine. And then relax. So we can just do our 5 dedication prayers. Let's check what we can do, just little things before we go to bed. Oops, a daisy. What time is it? 8:10. So everyone who's here now knows about the precepts tomorrow morning, right? Is Joanna there? Are you there, Joanna? You heard about the precepts? Okay, darling. Those who want. 5:15 here. Tea at 6 o'clock. Breakfast at 7. Lunch at 11. Good point. Very sensible point. We probably haven't. What a joke. Let's see if it's in one of these books here. But we're going to have to. That's a good point. We have to. You've got to. You know, as long as you repeat after me, it's the main thing, isn't it? It's good to have the text, isn't it? Well, I don't think we've got. I mean, I might have it here, but I don't think we've got. I don't think it's in our prayer book. We haven't got it. No, it's not in the prayer book. So what we do is we have to say this long prayer. You're reciting what you're going to do for the 24 hours. And the way to do it is you take it. You've got to repeat it after me 3 times. So it's just going to be a bit labouring, but that's what we have to do. No choice. Yep.
We have prayer books. We brought them from Copan.
How many?
16.
Okay, where are they?
Amber's got them in a bag.
Oh, okay, get them. For tomorrow morning, bring them. If they have the precepts in it, that'd be perfect.
Okay.
Good, darling. Okay, so let's just say tonight, our 5 little dedication prayers. It's after the morning prayers as well. It's page 65 or something. 60 something. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's 57, 55. Okay. 55, 56. Number 13, 5 essential dedication prayers. It's also at the back of the book, but here they are in the front. Okay? 55 or 56, one or the other. Number 13, 5 essential dedication prayers. Okay. So as a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, may bodhicitta, from which the happiness of all sentient beings comes, be generated in the minds of myself and other sentient beings without delay, even for 1 second, and that which has been generated, may it increase. As a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, may emptiness be generated in the minds of myself and other sentient beings without delay, even for 1 second, and that which has been generated, may it increase. As a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, which are empty from their own side, may I, who am empty from my own side, achieve Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's enlightenment, which is empty from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are empty from their own side to that enlightenment which is empty from its own side as quickly as possible, by myself alone. Whatever dedication the victorious one's gone to bliss of the 3 times have admired as best, I shall also perfectly dedicate in the same way all these roots of virtue, so that I may perform good works. Because of the past, present, and future merit created by me and by the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and sentient beings, may I, my family, students, and all sentient beings be able to actualize completely in this very lifetime Lama Tsongkhapa's path of unified sutra and tantra, which is pure like refined gold. May this pure teaching of Lama Tsongkhapa spread in all directions and flourish forever. All right, another day closer to death. So make the aspiration when you hit the pillow to see your dreams as dreams. And if you are conscious that you're dreaming, grab the opportunity and try and meditate on emptiness and see what happens. And then the next piece of practice, to rejoice if you wake up in the morning, bliss out, that you're still alive, all in one piece, all your conditions reasonable. Your petrol tanker morality hasn't run out yet. So have this sense of urgency, how marvellous, rejoice. and make a thought to not waste this day, to use your precious human rebirth. Come to do the precepts if you want to. Put the deep imprints of virtue into our minds, of non-harming into our minds for 24 hours. Watch our body and speech like a hawk. Watch our mind. Listen to the teachings. One day further, stepping on our path. That's it. If we can be strict silence again, retreat mode, silence until lunch tomorrow, which will be 11 o'clock.